with this tent, it's, as I said, it's a Russian Bear UP-2 mini. It's a 2-walled insulated tent. The inner wall is a canvas nylon material, and then the outer wall is just a nylon. I believe it's a 200D or 400D. I'll have to double check. There's a gap of about an inch between the two layers. That provides insulation. That cool air barrier is an insulation from the warm air to the cold air outside. On top of that, there behind the wood stove, there's a vent for drawing in cool air to help feed for the fire. The other features of the tent, there's a window or 2 windows on two sides that can be opened up outside in the sun, like summertime. If you really wanted to in the winter, you could open them up as well. Then you have your door, you have your screen, your outer shell, your inner shell, plus the other pop-up door that I showed you attached. The zip-in floor, which ends up being very handy for cleaning. You can, as I've stated before, you can get the insulated mat for the inside. I don't have one yet. I would in the future like to get one. I think it would be a great investment. Just help keep the floor a little warmer, because the floor, it's cold. Closer to the floor right now, it's showing 12 degrees, and up in the ceiling it's showing 22 Celsius. The tent also has these handy pockets all around the edge. The only wall they're not on is the door and the fireplace, as the fireplace has the barrier, or the fire retardant barrier. Up top, around the umbrella peg that I had to screw in so it would have popped back down in heavy snow, there's also handy clips to be able to hook up lanterns, hang clothes, also a netting up there to keep something else nice and warm up there. Yeah, that's pretty much the features of the tent. I find that it's well built. The stitching's really good quality on the tent. Overall, this is a great tent. There's not enough space with the stove on the UP-2 mini for 2 people. You could without cots, but with the cot, there's only space for 1 cot in the stove. I have a little chair table set up over there, and my storage over there for my gear. Then the wood pile near the stove. But it's comfortable, very comfortable. Now, without the stove, you definitely could put 2 cots in here for 2 people. I know they say the UP-2 mini can fit 3. You wouldn't be able to put your gear in here if you had 3 people. 2 people without the stove, you could still have your gear in here. Definitely. Now, gear I bring camping. Typical things: shovel, saw, axe. I just bring your standard axe, about hatchet size. Now this one is weighted a little heavier on the front, so you can use it for splitting. It's not ideal for splitting, but it does work. For clothing, you want to bring an extra set of clothes. I bring extra, for one night, I bring 2 extra pairs of socks, an extra pair of underwear, an extra shirt, and an extra sweater. It's very important to change your clothes every day, because when you are working out to cut wood and that just to survive, you sweat, and when you sweat, it soaks into your clothing. Once your clothing are dirty, they're not as warm, so you want to be able to have your layers stay as warm as possible. So pack accordingly for the amount of days you're going. You probably can get away with 2 days with the shirt if you have to, but I would advise you to change clothes every day. That way you say you have your best insulation barrier. Layers are important. Today I came out in this shirt, a long sleeve shirt, a fleece, and an outer shell. And then for legs, I have long johns, what I call camping pants. They're like a nylon polyester water resistant material. And then my snow pants, because you definitely want snow pants. Socks, thicker pair of socks, not thin sport socks. Now, if you don't have a great set of boots, like my boots are really warm, so one set of thicker wool socks works well, or cotton socks. If my boots weren't as warm, I would wear a thinner sports sock with a wool sock over top to keep my feet warm. In this case, it wasn't really necessary, but that is another good method for keeping your feet nice and warm. Gear-wise, you don't have to have the cot. You can just get away with the pad and the sleeping bag. It'll be a little cooler sleeping on the floor, but manageable. There are other good winter tents out there. I know Pomoly makes winter tents. Columbia, I think, makes some winter tents. Woods, I think, makes one winter tent. There are many hot tents that are great tents that you can use. I prefer wood stoves over the propane heaters. Propane heaters just make me uncomfortable, especially the indoor ones. I know they have like low oxygen sensor warnings, blah, blah, blah. I just never really trusted them, so I prefer wood stoves personally. You could use one of the propane heaters if you're comfortable enough with it, but I would bring a secondary method of testing your oxygen level in, or CO2 detector in the tent, just to make sure. With a wood, I can open the vent and I'm able to feel behind the wood stove, and I can feel if there's how much air is being brought in. And then up in the top around the stovepipe, there's about a 1/4 inch area as well where more heat is going through. And if I felt I needed more air, I could always open the windows, or I could open around the tent door a little bit, keep it slightly opened. If you're enjoying this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I enjoy camping all seasons, especially in the winter though, because of how quiet it is. Like, you don't have many birds, you don't have the animals, and it's that silence. Now the silence, some people don't really like the silence, but I actually enjoy it. It's just that peace and quiet and relaxing atmosphere that is just so nice. I live in a city right now. I wasn't raised in a city, so I've never been a city boy. So when I can get out into nature where I can just relax, it is so nice.